So you're basically just a regular human, but you have these exoskeleton suits, and that's basically your Battleframes. And it gives you each ability. So you have the Dreadnaught, who's kind of like your tank. You have a assault style, which is more like the warrior, or really high-end, just basically like a soldier class. You have your Recon, your sniper, your has decoys and deceives. You have your healer class, which is the Biotech, and the engineer, which is kind of all around. He has bombs and turrets and whatnot. But let's just go through this. I'm going to rip through these quite quick because there's these
combat frame that offers highly mobile and powerful
I wish I could turn her off.
Support to combat groups. Activate challenges in
So,
order to test your Battleframe's abilities. The heavy assault rifle is the primary weapon of the
assault rifle
Battleframe and provides the pilot with a uniquely accurate and powerful combat weapon. The alternate fire setting for the heavy assault rifle uses powerful telescopic sighting, allowing pilots to take advantage of the rifle's range and accuracy. Defeat all enemies using the weapon or ability selected. You may exit the battle lab at any time. Deployable SIN beacons allow
much better. Okay, so basically the SIN, it basically is a debuff to the guys. So put it down, as you see now it has this debuff on them. They're glowing. And by the way, you can play this game, well, I wish I could shoot. You can play this game in third person or first person. They have put both in, which is really cool. I really like that aspect. You have a decoy, if you wish. A lot easier to see with this. If you have a decoy, you will turn stealth, and they will be attracted to it. Where's this guy going? Come on. They'll be attracted to it, and then it will blow up. Next, you have a cryo bomb. Cryo bomb is very interesting, though. You have to be very careful on how you do this. You have to almost do it right in front of them, but it will slow them and give them vulnerability. Really neat. And lastly, you have artillery strike. This thing's awesome. Now, keep in mind, you will have to have this. You see the yellow bar at the bottom? It's slowly filling up. That will have to be full for you to use this, but it is kind of like your ultimate weapon there. And it's pretty badass, as you can see here. So, lastly, actually that's it. Let's go on to the Dreadnaught here. Dreadnaught's awesome. He has a secondary shield, just for your even main weapon, or you have your assault rifle. So let's just, or it's more like a minigun, I should say. Heavy machine gun. And of course, you can do this in first person as well, which is just as fun, if not more. You have a repulsor blast. This thing's great. It basically does an AoE around you and pushes people away and does a lot of damage. Pretty neat in certain situations where you're getting bombarded or they're attacking your engine's turret or something like that. Push them all away. Next, you have explosive shells. Actually, sorry, you have heavy armor next. You'll see it actually gives you a temporary vulnerability, which is really nice. So if you pop it, things start shooting at you, you take very little damage, as opposed to what you normally take. I thought it was invulnerability, but I guess it's just a huge shield. It just seemed like we never took damage before. Now lastly, you have explosive shells, which is awesome on this guy, because it normally you'll look like this. However, if you have explosive shells, AoE minigun, which is it just rips through people. Especially if you shoot kind of at their feet, like this. You see how it's doing AoE damage now? And then normally it just does that. Meh. And lastly, you have a mortar, which is actually really good on this guy. Again, your special ability, you have to have the yellow bar full. But once you have it, you have basically a if I can aim, you basically have a grenade launcher for a brief second. Really cool class, really fun to play. The shields on them and just the tankiness of them is just unreal. Of course, then you have your assault. This guy has a kind of an AoE ability, so that will shoot in a big AoE. But as well, you can do a shotgun style blast. There's a whole bunch of little guys coming at you, for example. So let's actually just get these guys out of the way. Come on, there we go. So as you see, it does AoE like that, or you can do the AoE. But it's not as powerful, right? It's just more for up close, I'm assuming, so that's usually going to be your primary. You have the overcharge, which makes all your abilities just do that much more damage while you have it. Just to pump out some extra damage. I don't really notice it though. Maybe I'm not using the ability right, but that's kind of what I got from it. Next, you have Afterburner. This is one of the coolest classes to play in this game for mobility. There's a lot of mountains and a lot of things you can't get to just by your normal jetpack. But using an Afterburner, you can blast yourself across. Now, as you saw there, I kind of lost speed. I keep forgetting about the Afterburner effect. It kind of just pushes you forward, but you don't continuously propel. Like you actually just hit it and it just pushes you forward. So you don't have to use your jetpack at all. So for example, you can basically just go like this, hit Afterburner, and then shoot your thing again. So you can go really far because you don't use any of your jetpack. In fact, I'm curious if you actually regen. Because if you go like this, you start regenning, right? You see on the right side there. I'm curious that if you, while you're being blasted, it starts to regen as well. That's kind of like that's neat. I didn't take a look actually. I was too busy having fun. So let's try this once more. So I'll just see, and then yeah, you do. Then you get even more of a jetpack, and like I said before, you do clip on certain things here. But that's pretty neat. It's a really cool ability. You got to get somewhere. It just extends the life of your jetpack so much. Really makes for a fun time. There's a lot of places where you're like, oh man, like you never get up there. Salt, you just like boom, you blast, then you jetpack all the way over, and it's just a massive amount of time. Next is your crater. You have a big crater ability where the higher you are, the more it does. So you do a big AoE attack. Pretty neat in some situations, most situations, meh. But the fact that you can go so high and get it done and just pound on someone is ridiculous. And of course it does more damage the higher you are. So let's try this here. Boom. So that did a lot more. And lastly, you have a shockwave, which this is a great ability. Just watch these guys get decimated. Straight up. Boom. You want massive damage? Take that. It's huge. So yeah, that's your soldier style class. Next is your healing class. Let's just take a quick look here. So this guy, his main weapon is kind of like a medic gun, whereas you can also do AoE shot blast for it as well. So we'll kind of show you here. It still does decent damage though, so it's not like you're just a dedicated healer. You have a lot of offensive weapons as well. So don't be like, I don't want to play the healer. It doesn't do anything. Healing wave, you'll see that it'll actually damage enemies as well. So it'll heal anyone in front of you plus damage. So you'll see here, it'll push the enemy away, but also heal up my drones. Boom. Really useful if everyone's kind of on one spot there. Push them all away. Last is Poison Trail. This is a huge ability. So So you can kite guys in the game, you could be shooting at them, you don't know they'll be running at you, but you'd leave a poison trail, kind of like Singed in League of Legends, if anyone knows him. So as you see, they're all taking massive damage and they just blow up. Really neat ability, especially PvP, because they're going to be chasing you down like crazy. Triage is a very, very interesting ability. It basically makes your res instant, whereas if you were to res someone before, watch the timer on this. Fall asleep while I wait for this to happen. However, use triage. Boom. Done. He's up. That fast. It's ridiculous. It's basically instant. You have to spend a second there just to make sure it goes off. And lastly, you have a chemical sprayer, which provides kind of like a fog, makes it so they can't see as well if you're in PvP, but mainly it does healing and damage. So, let's get this full here. You'll see that these drones are kind of low, and if you pop it, it'll heal them, but also damage these guys at the same time, which is really cool. Really neat class, really fun to play. Especially in PvP, like this guy is really fun to play. And lastly is the engineer. Engineer is kind of course, like he's a hybrid, like in every other game. It's really hard to see engineers played well. To be honest, most games can't make the engineer all that great. But this guy, he's an offensive engineer. He just has different abilities. He's like an assault, but has a slight, let's say, utility background as well. So for example, if the grenade launcher, by the way guys, you can't shoot your grenades on them and blow up. Like here, I'll show you. If you put it on them, look at all that damage. Yeah, nothing. However, if you put it on the ground, boom, huge damage. Really nice, really fun. Next is a supply station. And this is awesome because it will just continuously give you health and armor. Really good for if you're doing the thumpers. You can just basically, boom, shoot it down. It'll give off healing and ammo. And once it's consumed though, like that, I needed health and armor, ammo, obviously. It will regen, and you'll see throughout this that it'll actually come back, which is also really neat. Actually, it's a 30-second cooldown. Let's see if it now. Okay. Oh, it does give a fresh new one. So that's really good. Let's say you don't want to wait for the regen. You can actually just put another one up there. Deployable shield. This thing's awesome. Now, with your turrets, you can't put in front of the turrets. The turrets won't be able to shoot like your own turrets, but it'll protect you from everything in the game. So we'll see here. I'll put a turret down, or I'll put the shield down, and this turret can't hit me at all. Just no damage. But now I'll start taking damage. Next is your heavy turret. And even shows the range of what it's going to hit, which is neat as well. So yes, if we put the shield in front right now, it would actually stop all its attacks. I guess I need to go closer. I guess I put it a little too far back. There we go. I guess I just didn't trigger the scripting in it. So. So yeah, he has this cool utility. I really like him the best. I think I'm probably going to play the engineer. I really love the sticky bombs. It's awesome because, you know, in PvE you can really manipulate how guys come at you. And of course, anti-personnel. This is probably one of the coolest. And I haven't tried this yet. I'm going to now, actually. I'm going to deploy this bad boy. And I'm going to put this in front. Oh wow, okay, so for this you can shoot through your... That's even more overpowered. It won't do regular turrets, but your anti-personal one, yes. And of course you can shoot yourself. Like you can... not shoot yourself. You yourself can